There's a few critical factors for a successful virtual reality head-mounted display. The field of view is probably the biggest factor, where up till now most consumer-level head mounts had really tiny fields of view, like 30 degrees, maybe 45 degrees, and that's like looking at the world through toilet paper tubes. It's really not good for the immersion. The Rift actually has a 90-degree horizontal field of view and 110 degrees vertical, and that's sufficient. You can ask for a little bit more. The human body can see about 170, 180 degrees if you have absolutely nothing there, but 90 degrees is pretty darn good, and I consider it adequate for where we are right now. Resolution on the displays have ranged from the Sony display, the HMZ T1, has pretty good resolution. It's a 720p display per eye, and that looks like good sharp pixels there when you focus on them. The Rift, on the other hand, has a 1280 by 800 display that's split across both eyes, but also the enormous field of view, so the pixels are about 10 times larger, and we need to get a lot sharper than that for your average person to look at it and not complain about the big pixels. But that's going to be happening no matter what. As smartphones, mini tablets advance, next year we'll have panels with at least 2 to 4 times the resolution there. Responsiveness is one of the things that we have to push a little bit harder on. That goes through the entire chain of the input sensors, through the processing, the GPUs, the scan out, and the displays. And some of these, there's not a lot of action going on in moving it. Specifically, we used to have lots of displays that would go up to 120 or 170 hertz displays, but flat panels were sort of a 2 steps forward, 1 step back approach, where we got flicker-free displays with square pixels, but everybody settled on 60 hertz is good enough. And with the exception of a few 3D TVs and 3D monitors on there that have gone up to 120, the whole world has settled on 60 hertz LCDs, and that's not really good enough for what we want on virtual reality. So I'm pushing a lot of different places to try and move the world towards 120 hertz displays on micro displays and mini displays, as well as full-size TVs and monitors. Then another aspect of that is much better input sensors, where we have pretty accurate micro-machine MEMS sensors for attitude orientation, but we still don't have the perfect solution for tracking translational position, allowing you to crouch or lean or jump in a virtual reality situation. We have a number of technologies that kind of do that, but we don't have the magic bullet for that yet. I believe that that's going to come from optical tracking, inside-out looking, take a couple cell phone cameras, do lots of software magic to work that out. The absolute problem there is hard, trying to evaluate the entire world, but I think that there's intermediate steps that we can take to use it as a position sensor and get the job done with some amount of software engineering work. But still, we're tantalizingly close with the head mounts. What we've got now is fundamentally pretty cool, and it's only going to get better. So most people that have tried a virtual reality demo somewhere at a trade show, they've probably seen some toy applications. Maybe somebody's taken an existing game and they've hacked the head tracker to pretend that it's a mouse so you can turn your head side to side and up and down. But that's really not what the virtual reality experience is about. You need to take a full view matrix that allows you to tilt your head in different directions, swing it around, have it accurately calibrated so 90 degrees in the real world is 90 degrees in the virtual world. And then there's a number of things that you have to do to an existing high-quality game to make it more approachable, better for a virtual reality environment. Some things that we do in 2D games that add to the impact of it, like kicking the view sideways when you get hit, using that as a directional cue, those are not appropriate in a head-tracked environment where you can't tilt the view without your brain thinking that you're not looking in the right direction. There's things that you have to do for any stereoscopic game, like any 3D TV game. You can't have a crosshair on there. You need to add some kind of a laser sight for aiming into the game to let your eyes line up properly on that. Certain other effects that kind of looked okay in 2D have to be turned off. So we disable a number of things. Then we add the ability to move the weapon independently of the view, where you can play the entire game with it set up straight, where just like a normal FPS, everywhere you look, the gun is pointing always to the center of the screen. But it's much more natural to be able to swing the weapon up or down independently, so you can be looking where you want and firing slightly differently, or use that to rough it in with the controller and then fine-tune your aim with your head tracking on it. And one of the first things I'm going to do after the BFG edition of Doom 3 ships is move all of this code development work that I've done for virtual reality into the Doom 4 code base. I did parts of it, originally the stereoscopic work in the Rage code base, which I migrated out to an R&D code base and then into this, so little bits of this have evolved in a number of places, but it's part of my game plan to have this in from for the entire rest of the Doom 4 development, have it be something that goes through regular QA and is really part of the release cycle rather than something that's tacked on as a weird extra at the very end of development.